All right, what's going on? Welcome to Insight with Irv. I have a super detailed podcast today that I wanted to kind of like pull the curtains back on this one. I've never shared this one anywhere else, so I'm super excited about this because this is how we made our first 500K in cash collected, not revenue, 500K. Not, as a matter of fact, not even our first 500K. This is how we made 500K within 6 months in cash collected. So that's probably what we'll title this is 500K within 6 months. And this is going to be geared more toward my consulting and my digital marketing space, just because this is where we've made the bulk of our money from is in the consulting world. And so with that said, I wanted to give you what I have here. I have three phases that I want to walk you down. So if you're listening to this, we have obviously the visual experience, which you can see on YouTube. Who knows? We'll probably upload this visual experience on Spotify, make it a Spotify exclusive. But with that out of the way, let's dive right into it. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to find a problem and then you want to get good at solving it, at providing a solution. Now, I want to preface this and I want to add like a caveat to this. Don't just pick any problem. And again, this is you can apply this for any business, but I'm referring to more how we did it inside of our consulting space, our consulting company. And you want to find a problem. This is the caveats. You want to find a problem that is worth solving. Little problems equals little money. Big problems equals big money. Sometimes if you keep hearing the price objection, or if you keep hearing, I think that's too much money, or I don't think it's worth that, you have to look at what's the problem that we're actually solving and then reverse engineer that. Because if you're helping, let's say, a medical practice with their marketing, let's say you have an agency and you're helping them run ads and you're helping them get an extra 200 patients a month, that's a big problem that you're solving. Versus if you're helping someone maybe pick the right lipstick color. That right there may be a little bit lower leverage and a lower tier in terms of what you're getting paid. So you want to pick something that's going to be worth your time because then you're able to build off of that so that you can get other people paid as you start to remove yourself from the day-to-day operations, which is what I've been doing. Number two is you want to package it. So once you found the problem, and again, I want to keep this super practical today because I think that it's overcomplicated for a reason. People just want to sell this stuff. So I want to keep it as super practical, basic, bare bones as possible so you can build off of it. Second thing you want to do is you want to package it. But before you actually start selling it, when I refer to packaging, I'm referring to what people are actually going to get, like the service, the problem solving that you're going to give them, the solution. So you're going to test / survey the market. So these are the different type of products that you can offer. You have one-on-one, you have one-to-many, you have digital products, you have physical products that you can physically give them, like this sweater right here. You have a one-time service. So if they get on a one-time consultation call with you, let's say $150 for an hour to help them solve whatever problem they're looking to solve. You have a continuation. So if there's like a subscription or you're running more of an agency model, so maybe you're collecting a retainer. And then you have upsells and downsells. I like to stick more to upsells and back-end sales because that's where you can make a bulk of your money without constantly having to introduce new clients into your ecosystem. It's far easier to sell existing clients than it is to sell new clients. But I digress. So what you want to do, regardless of which of these you want to use, whether you're doing one-to-one, one-to-many, you can do maybe a package where you're doing a one-on-one consultation and you're also including digital products like templates, do-it-yourself kits, and maybe you're doing a continuation of, hey, if you want to continue having access to me every week, instead of paying $100 for an hour of my time, it'll just be, example, $400 for the month, and then you can get me 1 to 2 times a week at 30 minutes, as an example, in addition to all of the other services or all of the digital products that you're looking to get. That's just one of the ways that you can make the offer more enticing. But before you start selling it, you want to test it. And one of the ways that you can test it is give it away for free. The reason why I like giving stuff away for free is because there's no harm, no foul. So if your thing sucks, your client's gonna let you know, hey, just let them know. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what you can tell them. You can say, hey man, I'm testing this new thing. I'm just being, blunt with you, especially if it's maybe somebody in your warm audience, somebody that you know, like a friend or a relative. Hey, look, dude, I'm trying this new recipe out. I'm trying this new, I'm trying this new lesson out that I just finished teaching. Can you just give me your honest thoughts on it? Like, if it's something that you want, they say, yeah, that'll absolutely help me out. Okay, cool. Can you just let me know like how I did, how, if you actually got benefits from it, if you actually enjoyed it, if you got any results from it, they'll let you know. So at that point, you're getting feedback in real time from your market. Now you can blow this up if you have an audience, because if you have an audience, and you don't need a big audience, but if you have a niche on audience, so let's say you're one of the ladies and you have, let's say 3,000 women that follow you on social media, and you're just known as the holistic mom, and you decide one day to do like homemade recipes that you were baking because one of your kids got sick, and you vowed to never take them out to eat junk food again. You would make those recipes at home. What would it look like if you said, hey, I'm taking on 10 moms that want to learn how to do these recipes for their kids at home. I'm doing maybe an online workshop where you can join me on Zoom. I'll show you ladies 6, or stay-at-home dads even, right? 6 or 7 different recipes that you guys can take advantage of so that you can save on the calories, save on all the fats, on the processed foods that your kids are getting in these restaurants and these fast food diners that none of us know about. So boom. Okay, let's say that you give that away for free. You get that feedback back in real time. Hey, we loved it. How can we get more of this? Those are music to my ears. How can we get more of this is now giving you the license to, if you wanted to sell, right? I speak from experience because this is what I did. When I first started putting out a ton of content, I didn't have anything to sell anyone. And so I was just putting out a ton of content to the point where people are saying, dude, do you have like a program? Do you have like a mentorship? Do you have like a coaching service? Like, I'll pay you just to like bend your ear for a couple of moments or a couple of minutes over a couple of questions that I have about my business. So I was like, yeah, sure. Let's just kind of like package this thing up. And at the time I was on Calendly. And if you've been following me for some time, then you're probably OG. You remember this. I think it was like, oh gosh, it's probably like $50 for an hour. If that, like maybe like $35 for an hour, something crazy. And on there, I just had ask me anything. And I had people, they'd book it up. And it got to the point where like, I can't do this every day. And so that's when we started creating more of the digital product side, the consulting services side, and we started going a bit more on the high ticket side because we wanted to solve the bigger problems without feeling like I was burning out either, right? Because I wanted to have more value, more control over my time. And so with that, we're now moving into the third phase. So once you figured out what you want to sell, once you figured out it's selling, people want this, it's going to move, you're going to move into phase 3. Now, I'm going to give you 2 different methods that you can use that we used to get clients. Now, full disclosure, our first $500,000 that we collected in not just a revenue, actual cash collected, did not come from any ads at all. So I want to preface that. So we didn't start running any ads until this year. So just wanted to put that out there. I'm no expert in any means with ads. We have been turning a profit on them, nothing astronomical. But I wanted to say everything that we built up to this point has been pretty much 100% organic, with the exception of like the other 10% that's been coming in from ads. So with that in mind, 2 main methods to get clients is going to be organic content, which I absolutely love. And number 2 is going to be ads. Now I'm going to give you the pros and cons for each of them. The pros for organic content is your audience directs what you create, in a sense. And so they'll let you know, hey, and they'll post questions on your reels, on your YouTube channel. If you are growing an audience, on your Facebook, if you do Facebook Lives, they'll let you know, hey, insert question. Hey, how did you do XYZ? Hey, how can we do XYZ faster? That may be a nice piece for a new piece of content. That's going to make sense here in a second of why this is so important and a valuable skill. Number 2, speaking of skills, it's an invaluable skill. I've seen more people who are good at creating content have a profitable business once they turn ads on, because it's a transferable skill set from good creative to an ad, then it'd be the other way around. I've seen a lot of digital marketers that they suck at trying to create organic content because it constantly comes out salesy and it constantly comes out like there's a pitch, versus when someone's learned how to sell or learn how to serve through their content, it's far easier for them to sell through an ad. It just hits better with an audience. Number 3 is it takes little to no money. That's the third pro. Now I have 3 cons for you on the content, on the organic side of this route that you want to take. Number 1, it takes time to build. So just a heads up, it's not going to be you're going to start putting out content tomorrow and you're going to get paid next week. It's going to be one of those things where it could take 6 months to a year before you actually start seeing any results, before you build up a database big enough that you can actually start selling to, before you have an email list that you can start marketing to. Second con is the reach isn't guaranteed, especially with platforms constantly changing, which is why if you follow a lot of these gurus and a lot of these bigger accounts, you constantly see they're changing up the way that they post. And it's because they're constantly trying to hack the system. Because unfortunately, we don't own these platforms. These are rented eyeballs. And so you always have to play within the means of the game or of the owner of the game. So you're constantly having to switch up the strategy, which is fine. It's done in business. But just keep that in mind, is that you can get 100,000 views last week. Algorithm changes tomorrow. You're down to like 1,000 views, which is what happened to a lot of people when TikTok made some of the bigger changes. Number 3 is your first videos are going to suck. And your first videos are going to discourage you. And if you're not careful, you're going to stop when you see yourself first speak to the camera. You're going to stop when you first hear yourself speaking into a microphone. If maybe you want to go with an audio format like a podcast, when you first write, maybe your first tweets or your threads, if your goal is to get good where you want to start having daily blogs, your first pieces of content, no one's going to read them. So just a heads up, you want to prepare yourself. No one's going to watch this. No one's going to read this. And if they do, I'm pleasantly surprised. That's the thought process that I would take myself in with. And so when people would actually watch it, they'd share, like, oh, this was nice. I guess they enjoyed it. Ads. The pros with running ads to get clients is you're going to get faster results. You put money in. If you do it right, money comes out. Number 2 is you have control over the reach. So if I put $2,000 to get, let's say, 30,000 views as an example, then that's what it is. Versus an organic piece of content, it may be free. The only thing that it costs you was time to create it, but the reach isn't guaranteed. And then number 3 is you have direct targeting. So how it differentiates from organic content is whoever sees it is whoever's in my audience, whoever the algorithm decides to share it to. With ads, I can, let's say, have it filtered to, I just want construction company owners in the Midwest between the ages of 35 to 55 who've been in business for at least 2 years to watch this ad right here. You can specifically target them. That's a key difference, and that helps a lot, especially as you're trying to get your message across. 3 cons for ads. Number 1 is it gets expensive fast, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Number 2 is ads. If your ad account gets shut down, and this has been the only means of you getting clients, that means that your business is gone tomorrow. So a little pro tip that I picked up is if you can turn off your ads, this is how you know you have a sustainable business. If you can turn off your ads tomorrow and still keep your doors open and still remain profitable, then you have a pretty healthy business, to say the least, right? Whether that comes from word of mouth, organic content, client referrals, you have a healthy business. If you turn off your ads completely, lead flow stops, and we're not making a sale, you're in trouble. So that's something you want to pay attention to. And then the third con is there's less trust and buy-in when someone is looking at your product, when somebody's looking at your service. And so what I recommend doing, which is, again, I'm going off of what I did, was create content and still run ads, because it's going to help lower your cost of ads if and when you do decide to run ads. And when people see you, they're going to say, oh, I know this person. I've seen them before. Or let me do more research on them. Oh, wow, this person has a lot of content. Wow, they're really out there. And again, you don't have to have a big audience. I've figured out that a lot of people, when they see your ad, because I've asked them on sales calls, I've told my guys to ask people this on sales calls. Hey, ask them, if they saw us on a Facebook ad, where else they saw us. And more often than not, they'll watch 1 or 2 pieces of content max, and they'll just go to see how relevant you've been or how up or how current you are with the content that you're putting out. This means that if you put out a piece of content, it's November right now, time of this recording, and the last piece of content that I shared was, let's say, October of last year, 2022, that's like a red flag to the person. Now, if the piece of content that I put out, even if it's not the best content in the world, was, let's say, last week, they're like, okay, wow, this person is still active. And so they're more likely to click on the ad, say, okay, I trust them. Let me jump on a call. Okay, I trust them. Let me at least hear what the demo's about. Okay, I trust them. Let me at least give this product a try. Again, those are the 3 phases that I've gone through that I wanted to share with you on how you can quickly scale up either your consulting firm or just services, your service-based business, which again, it's what I've created our income from, the service-based business. So if you found value in this content, consider sharing it with someone who's looking to improve their income going into this new year and beyond. Don't forget that we don't run any ads to these episodes. So again, if you found value in this content, consider sharing it with a friend. Consider leaving us a 5-star review because it would help this channel, this episode, and this podcast continue to reach a larger audience. But other than that, I appreciate each and every single one of you guys that tunes in every single day, every single week, every single month. Until next time, everyone, I will see you in the next video.